This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviat. Tonight it's Ask Us Anything night on 31 Law Call. That means you can call in a question on any legal topic and we will give you our best direction on it. That may be everything from, okay, we've got goose attack video tonight. It may be talking about trees down. You'd be surprised how often lawyers get called about trees and property lines and trees down and what to do about it. The 31 Law Call number, 256-536-0077. You can also email a question. You can email a question anytime, any day of the week. You send it to lawcall@waytv.com. And when we get to a show that's on point, we will pull them out. And we've got some of your email questions tonight. We've got Michael Timberlake here from Timberlake and League. We've also got Heath Brooks, who's going to be joining us by Zoom tonight to answer questions. Glad to have you guys here.
Well, it's great to be here.
On Easter. Glad to have everybody here.
This is the goose day.
It's goose night. Okay, we've got video that it's been a while since we've done a You Make the Law Call. We pull some video from YouTube and talk about it from a legal perspective. Okay, we've got a couple of different goose attacks, and geese can be tough. She's left her bag.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Ouch.
she may have
That's
lost her
gonna hurt.
pants there too. This one, okay, you can tell somebody is probably trying to help the geese with the babies get out of the road, but Papa Goose or Mama Goose, one of them is not having it.
Oh.
Geese can be tough little critters. Okay, we've got another one. A lot of people wind up leaving their property behind.
The goose could steal the purse.
Somehow the purse, I think the cell phone went flying too.
No,
And then we've got this one. He just won't stop. It continues. Okay, we hear a lot of times about animal attacks. It's usually something maybe with a dog attack, and those can be terrible. A goose attack is something different. And then you see videos of people in national parks messing with buffalo that they shouldn't be messing with. If you're in a place, from a legal, he tried to go in the car with him.
There you go.
From a legal perspective, I don't know where this parking lot is or these geese. If you're stopping on the road, I don't know that you can sue anybody because a goose attacked you. But if you're, I don't know, if you're in Big Spring Park or you're somewhere and you're attacked by an animal, is that something you guys hear about?
Well,
Personal injury attorneys here?
We hear about animal attacks, or typically it's a
dog,
domesticated
right?
dog,
Yeah.
or some other kind of animal all the time. But basically, what you're looking at here is, is there an owner? Is there somebody that is responsible for maintaining the dog, or making sure that the animal is not out there in the public domain that can, in a situation that can cause injury. This situation, if these geese are free range geese and they're moving around the city and they're in their native environment, then you're coming to them. There's no really way to sue the geese. If there is a situation where there is an owner that has a knowledge or notice that there is an animal that has a problem, then the owner can be held responsible for injuries that are caused by that animal. Typically what we see in dogs are a situation where either the dog has either been vicious or aggressive to somebody before, God forbid they bite somebody, or it's a breed that is known to be, have dangerous propensities. Pit bulls are the number ones we see, but you've got German Shepherds, you've got Mastiffs, you've got all kinds of other dogs that can be aggressive. So in the eyes of the law, they say, look, if you know that this is a potential danger out there and you don't maintain that animal in a reasonably safe fashion, then it's on you as the owner to be responsible for the injuries that are caused.
Okay. It's Ask Us Anything tonight. We've also got Heath Brooks from Timberlake and League. So these guys do personal injury cases. Heath, thanks for staying up with us tonight and being with us by Zoom.
Good to see you, Sharon.
You guys do personal injury cases, so that's everything from car accidents to medical malpractice to animal attacks, things like that. You got anything to add to the animal attack issue there? And maybe we talk a little bit about the difference between a dog attacks a human and a dog attacks another dog and how those are handled in court.
I have, in particular to geese, I had a fella call me, it's been several years ago, and it was a big issue because his neighbor had done something to his property to attract geese. They lived near a lake, and he had done put goose food out or whatever, and attracted a bunch of geese into that particular area. And his neighbor was having a problem, and so this was a big war between two neighbors. Hey, quit feeding the geese because they're coming onto my property. They're doing some destruction, and they run after us. So I think maybe in a scenario like that where you have a wild animal that you're trying to get to come to your property and it hurts somebody else, maybe you could have something in that kind of scenario. But we see all kinds of fools, going up and petting mountain lions and playing with buffalo, and that's a problem. You got to use your good common sense.
Yeah.
So what if
They
your
are
neighbor,
wild animals.
Heath? What if your neighbor puts the honey pot on their property and then and then the bear comes and it gets you?
I mean, I think that's they're trying to get that bear to come over to your property. That could be an issue. I think
It's a problem.
But just if you see a bear, maybe you should go back inside.
Guys, we've got callers waiting. We've got Kim on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Kim. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Hi. My question is in regards to a nursing home neglect
Okay.
that resulted in like a serious medical issue with one of the patients.
Okay. And don't tell us the name of the nursing
I'm
home.
not.
Okay.
I'm not.
What happened? And is this still going on?
Currently, they're in the hospital now,
Wow.
resulting from this medical issue that did not get reviewed or cared for or seen in this facility.
What was the injury? What did they not do something, or they didn't turn the patient, or what was going on?
Let's just say wound care was not performed, or performed.
Wound care was
Therefore-
not performed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Therefore,
Okay.
resulting in an amputation.
Oh, gee.
Right,
I'm
right.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Kim.
Well, and you don't have to say, but if you're a family member in this situation, then that's one thing. If you're involved in the care in this situation, that kind of takes it up to a different level.
I'm the family.
Ma'am.
I'm family.
Family.
Okay. I was going to say we've been involved in these situations before where there were caregivers that were concerned about the level of care that was provided at a facility, and then family members can be concerned as well. The first step that you look at in these situations is, what do we need to do? Who do we need to alert? The Alabama Department of Public Health has a nursing home complaint hotline, and there are surveyors that will come out and look and do complaint investigations into situations like this. That's the first thing that we tell people to do, because these people have access to things that lawyers do not have access to until a lawsuit has been filed. And so those are the first people that can get information that you're going to need. The next thing that I would encourage a family member to do is talk to anybody at the facility, take notes, try to figure out what happened and what that situation is. The next thing to do is obviously accumulate as much medical data as you can in terms of what the hospital records have to say in terms of an amputation. If it's fatality, that can be a different situation that you really need to get on quick. But the main thing is contact an attorney that handles these types of cases in a relatively fast manner, so you can know what to do. If it's a situation where somebody's injured or somebody passes away, what's the difference that happens there?
I mean, here's the deal. You got two different types of cases here, but one thing you need to know is that with a nursing home case, they can become very complicated because they are medical malpractice cases in the state of Alabama. That means that the facility, employees of the facility, maybe the certified nursing assistants, maybe the registered nurses, maybe the physician on staff, those members of the facility have performed or treated your loved one in a manner in which other folks in the country would not have treated that your loved one, and then that's called a breach of a standard of care. And from there you get damages, and then you need to get a lawyer involved. But the difference in an injury and a fatality, what we call a wrongful death, can be very distinct in a nursing home setting or really any setting. And that's particularly true but for the types of damages that you could be entitled to In an injury sort of scenario, you're looking at medical bills, you're looking at pain and suffering damages, compensatory damages. But in a wrongful death setting, you're looking at the value of a human life, the punitive damage aspect of preventing that conduct from ever happening again. And, to take that a little further, if it's a situation where your loved one is in danger of passing away, Alabama has some very, very strict rules on when you can pursue a case. And an injury case actually dies with you if it's not been filed in a court of law. So that's something that if you have someone that is close to a dire situation, contacting a lawyer, talking to that person to see if a lawsuit could be filed or needs to be filed, because time is really of the essence. But these are very complicated cases. Nursing home is governed by state and federal law, so you likely need some guidance with an attorney on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing you do is you contact an attorney. Second thing you do is make sure the state's involved. One thing to be aware of is that, simply because someone has an injury in a nursing home doesn't automatically make the nursing home responsible. You still have to prove that they did something that no reasonable doctor or nursing home would do in that same scenario. And that can be something that really is, technical. You need to talk to a lawyer about it.
You're making me worried about going to a nursing home
You don't
down
want to
the
be in a
road.
nursing home if you
What
can
you
avoid
guys
it.
see, I'm
Absolutely.
telling you. Okay, they're telling us to take a break. We'll take a break, be right back answering more of your questions. It's Ask Us Anything night, and we've got callers on the line. Stay with us.
You're watching WAAY 31 Law Call, where lawyers come to help. Your rights, your calls, live. Hosted by family law attorney Sharon Doviet. With the personal injury attorneys of one of the Valley's most respected law firms, Timberlake and League. Featuring the knowledge of managing partner Michael Timberlake, with millions of dollars awarded to his clients. And the experience of attorney Will League, a strong courtroom fighter known for his commitment to winning. And the fellow partners of Timberlake and League Heath Brooks and William Meservey. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviet. Tonight it's Ask Us Anything night, so you can call in a question about any legal topic. The 31 Law Call number 536-0077. We've got with us Michael Timberlake and Heath Brooks. They're both from Timberlake and League, and we've got callers waiting. People have been waiting through the break. Susan is on the line with a question from Grant. Hi, Susan. Thanks for waiting. What's your question tonight?
Well, I have a question about wills.
Okay.
My husband died a few months back.
I'm sorry.
We were married almost 30 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And everything that he owns now, I had worked and helped him pay for.
Okay.
So I was sued for all of my husband's belongings, saying that I had to give it all up because it had to go to the grandchildren.
Okay. So who is bringing the lawsuit again? And not the name, don't tell us the name, but what's the relationship to you?
My husband's family.
Okay.
Okay.
So he had children by someone else before?
No.
Right, and y'all were legally married? You had a ceremony, wedding license, whole thing?
Oh, yes, and we were married. We have no children, no grandchildren.
Okay.
Together.
Okay. Well, I mean,
And he doesn't have any, and I don't have any.
So who is it
You
that's...
didn't have a will?
Did he have a will, Susan?
No, he died a week before we could get it signed.
Okay,
Right.
and I'm still confused on who's bringing...
Yeah,
if you
who's
don't have
bringing
any
the lawsuit? You
who's
don't have
bringing
any-
the lawsuit?
His family, sisters, brothers.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, essentially, this is that if someone passes away, right? Then somebody can file and open an estate on their behalf. The law says that the spouse, the wife, you would have the first priority to open an estate on behalf of that person. Once an estate is open, then the person who's appointed the personal representative of the estate would have the ability to collect all the belongings for this person. They have an obligation to notify the creditors. Creditors have 6 months to file claims against the estate. And then from there, that, once the 6 months period has gone by, then the assets of the estate are divided in according with the law of intestate succession in Alabama. So this is not the law according to whatever potential will would be out there. If there's a will, that controls the division of the assets. But if not, then under Alabama law, it goes according to what the code says it goes to. Heath, in a situation where it's just a husband and a wife, and there are no issue of that child, who gets all the assets?
Well, if it's just a husband and wife, and then there's no issue, then if the husband had children, you would be entitled to what's called a widow's share under Alabama law. And then if your husband had children, each one of his heirs would get to divide what is left after you take your widow's share. And then if his heirs did not survive but had children, then it would pass down to your grandchildren. And maybe that's what they're arguing. But there's a bunch of different things there to unpack. For instance, if you owned a house and the house was in you and your husband's name and passed with joint tenancy with a right of survivorship, then it would pass outside of the estate. So you wouldn't need to worry about whether or not that was calculated in what your widow's share would be. So, there's some more complicated things, particularly when you have real estate, particularly if you have heirs of your husband that are not heirs of you. So, that may be something that you need to talk to an estate lawyer about.
Yeah, I mean, in general, really what you're looking at, the spouse would have the first right to the first $50,000 of the estate. If your husband's parents are still alive, then they would potentially have a claim. But if he doesn't have any children, really it's his siblings would have a tangential portion of the estate. So that's, it's just a matter of making sure that it's all divided in accordance with the way the law says. And like he said, there are assets that can pass outside the estate, bank accounts, retirement accounts, automobiles, and real estate can pass without an estate. So it's really just, you need to talk to somebody that handles probate in the county where the claim has been filed.
We've got Mike on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
How are all these new home developers getting away with building these houses so close together when we have saying you can't build within 10 feet of property lines, but they're building houses that only have 15 foot between them?
We've got a lot of construction going on around Madison County, don't we?
Yeah, and then we have like the gun law situation, and I do a lawn care thing, and I'm trying to get shot because you crossed somebody's property line.
Is it in Madison County that you're thinking of? There is a lot of construction going on. And you think you know of some that are breaking that? They're getting closer than 10 feet?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Like some of the houses are not even 15 foot apart between each one of the houses.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
and who do you take something like that to?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a zoning law question, really, and
That's exactly right.
The situation is if you bought in that subdivision, they're going to argue that you came to whatever that situation is, knowing that was the case. So, it's hard for us to say on the front end, whether they're in compliance with the zoning or the ordinances and that apply to that type of subdivision. There's all types of different zoning. There's residential property, there's multiple family property, there's all different kinds of classifications. So if the builder got it zoned for what they've done, there's really not much you can do after the fact, and that's kind of a case-by-case analysis.
Yeah, that's something that whenever a new home is built, you have to obtain a certificate of occupancy, which requires a final inspection by whatever municipality, whether that's most likely the city of Huntsville, city of Madison. If you're in the county, there's a lot less stringent laws about set-offs from lines on how you have to build. So that could factor into it. Some folks get away with a little bit more when they build out in the country, as opposed to building within a municipality. But you can determine what the zoning is in those particular areas. The City of Huntsville's website is really good in terms of identifying what houses are zoned in what areas and cross-referencing what the rules are. So that's something that sometimes you can move through, or at least call the building inspectors department with the City of Huntsville.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they can't build, they can't get a permit to build a house in violation of the ordinance. So in the city, at
Exactly.
least. So that's something you just have to kind of run down.
We've got Howie on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Howie. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yeah, hi. We bought a lot in Huntsville, and there was a vacant house on it. We turned on the electric, moved in, paid the real estate taxes. The house, unfortunately, is located on 2 adjoining lots, and the other lot is owned by someone else. We knew about that going in. We didn't buy any title insurance. We were told that we're not tenants in common, and what I want to know is, can they lawfully eject or evict us from their half of the house?
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a big mess. Obviously, what we tell people is, look, if you're gonna be involved in real estate, you want to make sure that you understand what the title is and you understand what you're purchasing. But without researching the deeds in detail, it's really hard for us to say what you would be. Typically, 2 people that would have the same interest in a lot would be tenants in common. And you can either be tenants in common so that they could, if they're separate tenants in common, one of them can sell for division of the property. But if they hold it jointly, it can be another deal, right, E?
That's right. And it sounds like to me that what's going to end up happening, and this is something that you need to talk with somebody who does that type of work. But I think if you've got 2 people who have an interest in the same piece of property, a lot of times what the court will do is force a sale of that property and then an equal division of what it's worth, and y'all both walk on. That's sometimes what happens. But you both, if half of your house is on somebody else's property, that's an issue for both of y'all, and the only way to resolve that may be to sell it and distribute the assets.
Okay. They're telling us take a break. We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions. It's Ask Us Anything night. Stay with us. If you haven't gotten your questions answered tonight, here's how to get in touch with Michael Timberlake and Heath Brooks with Timberlake & League. They are personal injury attorneys out of Huntsville, 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com, and if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon practices family law. She does child custody, divorce, and that kind of things. 256-539-7337 or SharonFamilyLaw.com.
We didn't get to talk about trees, like the tree that fell at the Masters. Okay, nobody got hurt, right? What's the law with that?
Well, the tree that falls at the Masters, if it's a healthy tree and the owner did not know or could not have known that it was going to fall and it was just an act of nature, then the owner doesn't have any responsibility.
Okay.
However,
And
even if
even if the tree is looking dead, at a sporting event, you have a license. You generally waive a lot of the any sort of claims you may have. It's like getting hit by a baseball in a baseball game, getting hit by a golf ball on a golf course.
Amazing.
You're just going to waive your rights.
Thanks for all your questions tonight. Glad nobody got hurt at that golf event. See you next week.
Yeah.